What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel, and today I have an updated Black Rose Dragon deck profile for you guys. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, what's going on? Why are you filming on a Tuesday when you should be filming on a Wednesday? So at the time that I am currently recording this video, it is Tuesday, June 14th. It is 7 p.m. right now. Just wrapped up NXT. If you guys did watch NXT, y'all already know what's up. If you guys did not watch, y'all missed out on a hell of a show, I have to admit. But the reason why I'm filming this now and posting it bright early in the morning is because tomorrow morning at around 10:30 I have an appointment with the dermatologist. I have a wart on my thumb. Let me see if I can. I'll try and show it off using the flashlight on my phone. Hang on. There we go, right there. If you guys notice the wart on my thumb, I've had that on my thumb for quite some time now, and I'm gonna try and see if I can get rid of it once and for all. So, yeah. So this week is gonna be very interesting for me. I'm gonna try and make yet another appointment with somebody else, or rather with somewhere else. No spoilers, I can't say what it is. That's a personal thing, but what's cool about this updated version is the fact that we finally have Jet Synchron back at 1, but sadly Red Rose Dragon is at 1 because of all of the Sword Soul plays, because of all the Sword Soul decks, and my desk moved. Because of all the Sword Soul plays that was used, decks that were using Red Rose Dragon. But it's much more. The build is about the same. Is about the same as the last build, but it does use up Jet Synchron and a very small rocket package, which I'll get to that once we get to that point. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. If you guys do, and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and follow me on my social media. The links will be in the description below, as will the fan mail to my social media. It will also be in the description as well. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, first up, we are running the single copy of World Carryweight Champion. This is basically the Zephyros, the Blackwing Zephyros, the elite of the whole deck, where you get to send a plant monster from your hand or face the field to your grave. Summon this card. This card basically just helps you go into your synchro plays, whether you're playing on summoning Black Rose Dragon, whether you're summoning Cypher Little Omega, or even also one particular or a particular synchro that I will get to once we get into the extra deck. But you guys are wondering, what's that monster? Don't worry, you guys will see very, very soon. But still, it's basically the Zephyros, the elite of the whole deck. Self-explanatory, don't have to say anything else. Next up, we have 2 copies of Witch of the Black Rose. This is basically one of the minor bricks of the deck. So its effect reads: cannot be special summon. If this card is normal summon and you control no other cards, draw 1 card and show it. And if it's not a monster, send it to the grave and destroy this card. This works in conjunction with Rose Fairy, where if it's added from the deck to the hand by a card effect, i.e. Witch of the Black Rose, you get to basically summon this card for free. So it acts as a Breeze the Zephyr for the deck itself, which is just absolutely insane. And another card that can actually benefit from Rose Fairy is, I believe, where is it? Yeah, is actually is Frozen Rose, which is actually pretty good. But I'll get to that later on. But basically, this is so if you guys don't know, this is a 4-star tuner. This is like a card that can help go into Black Rose Dragon really quickly. Not much else to say about that. Although I will admit it's very interesting to say the very least. And I just realized I'm kind of fucked up with the extra deck. So I'm gonna take a card out of the extra deck. Give me a second, guys. I'll take this out and I'll add this in. Because originally I was running Appaloosa, but I realized I sort of fucked up. So I'm going to take that out. And I will take these two out. I'll put this in, and I'll add the Appaloosa into the side. There we go. Much better. Much better. Sorry guys, I completely fucked up on the extra deck. But anyway, next up we have 2 copies of Blue Rose Dragon. This is sort of a Monster Reborn, but for Black Rose Dragon. So if you guys do not know, this was I believe this was, I want to say this was a world premiere card from Legendary Collection 5Ds, but the effect reads: when this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the grave, you can target 1 Black Rose Dragon or a plant monster in your grave, special summon that monster. This works in conjunction with this actually works in conjunction with Rox Rose Dragon, where if you have Black Rose on board, you can then normal summon Rox Rose Dragon, trigger its effect, get the search out, and then tune Rox Rose with Black Rose, and you get to summon Rudy Rose Dragon right off the bat, which automatically becomes not only a massive call by, but it also just wipes the whole board clean, with the exception of itself, which is not too bad. So Blue Rose Dragon, pretty good, pretty cool, pretty good if I say so myself. Next up, we have 1 copy of Stay Sailor Romarin. This is one of the weirdest cards in the deck, but it's actually still pretty good. So its effect is a quick effect, which reads: you can target 1 face-up monster you control and send 1 of the plant monster you control to the grave. And if you do, the next time the targeted monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, it is not. And if this card is sent to the grave by a card effect, you can send a low 5 or lower plant from your deck or extra deck to the grave. So this basically is a Foolish Burial / Extra Foolish Burial, where you can send Black Rose Dragon to your graveyard, normal summon Blue Rose Dragon, have it get destroyed, boom, and boom, you instantly have Black Rose Dragon back on the field just off of the Stay Sailor right there, which is just absolutely insane on its own. Plus Black Rose, plus Witch of the Black Rose, and of course Stay Sailor, and you instantly get Cypher Lord Omega, which can basically help take your cards that were banished, put them back into your graveyard during each of your opponent's standby phases, which is hilariously good. Not much else to say about that. Next up we have 3 copies of White Rose Dragon. This is actually one of the best combo starters / extenders of the deck, and the effect reads: when this card is normal summon, you can special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or grave, except this card. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. If you control a Dragon Tuner or Plant Tuner, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, you can send a little for a higher plant monster from your deck to your grave. This works in conjunction with World Carry Champion. If you have Dark Rose Fury on board, you can then trigger Carry Weight's effect, pitch Dark Rose Fury from from your field, summon Carrot Weight Champion. Summon Carrot Weight Champion. Activate Basil Rose Shoe. Special summon Rocks Rose Dragon, and you can instantly go into Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, which I accidentally forgot to put into the extra deck, and I ended up switching it up a bit. But you can basically go into Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, and it just becomes one of the strangest plays, but one of the best plays you could ever see, you could ever make with this deck. Next up, we have 3 copies of Rocks Rose Dragon. This is basically your Stratos for the deck. So its effect reads: if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 card that specifically lists the Black Rose Dragon and its text from your deck to your hand, except this card. So with this, you can add cards such as Blue Rose Dragon, White Rose Dragon, Red Rose Dragon. You can add Basil Rose Shoe, Frozen Rose, or Thorn of Malice to your hand, which is just pretty crazy. But it has another effect, that reads: while this card is in your grave, if a face-up Rose Dragon monster or monsters, or Plant Synchro monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, you can add this card to your hand. So this basically just lets you get out Black Rose Dragon really quickly, and it also gives you fodder for none other than Basil Rose Shoe, where you can then search out, let's say Blue Rose Dragon, activate Basil Rose Shoe, summon Blue Rose Dragon, and you have yet another way to summon Black Rose Dragon, or even also Black Rose Moonlight Dragon if need be, which is insane. Next up, we have the 1 copy of Red Rose Dragon. I'm kind of upset that the card went down 1, but at the same time, given the fact that the Sword Soul players and pretty much a lot of the heavy single-based decks were running this card, I can't say that I'm surprised, but it's still pretty good in this deck nonetheless. If this card is sent to the grave as single material, you can special summon a Rose Dragon monster from your hand or deck except this card. Then if it was sent for the synchro summon of a Black Rose Dragon or a Plant Synchro, you can also add a Frozen Rose or Blooming of the Darkest Rose from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is just insane. It's pretty insane if I say so myself. What's cool about this is that it allows you to basically search out blooming or Frozen Rose to your hand, or rather from your deck to your hand, and you can then use them at a later time. Which with Frozen Rose, it can either become a graceful charity of sorts, or it can also be a Rhoda, which is not too bad, but I'll explain that once we get into the spells. Next up, we have 3 copies of Rose Fairy. As I said before, this is basically your Breeze the Zephyr for the deck. If it's added from the deck to the hand by a card effect, it gets summoned right away, which basically can help you go into Black Rose, into Moonlight, or even also Sign for Little Omega, depending on what you want to summon, which is pretty good. Next up, we have 3 copies of Dark Rose Fairy. This is not the best card because this card is basically a brick, but what's cool about Dark Rose Fairy is that if you summoned a tuner, then this card basically acts as a Cyber Dragon, where you could just summon it to the field, and allows you to it basically allows you to go into cards such as the Garden Rose Maiden or the Flora, depending on which one you want to summon, or it can also help you go into a specific card that might be interesting to say the very least. I'm not gonna say anything else about it except that it's just insane. Very, very insane to say the very least. Well, but we'll get again. It's like I said, we'll get to the extra deck once we get to that point. But it has a second effect where it says that if this card is in the grave, you can send a card from your hand or field to the grave and put this card either on the top or the bottom of the deck, which you really don't want to do that. But if you want to go into your synchro plays, then yeah, I guess it's okay. But that's just my opinion anyway. Don't really have anything else to say about that, honestly. But again, it's just my opinion. That's just my own personal opinion. But next up, we have... There we go. Next up, we have the 2 copies of Rudy Rose Witch. This basically helps you get Witch of the Black Rose really fast. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but here's its effect. You contribute this card, add 1 Witch of the Black Rose from your deck to your hand, and if you do, take a lower 3rd or lower plant monster from your deck, place it on top of your deck, then immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon Witch of the Black Rose from your hand. You can banish the card from your grave, return one of your Black Rose Dragon or Rudy Rose Dragon that is banished or in your grave to the extra deck. You can only use this effect, each effect once per turn. This basically just helps you recycle Rudy Rose Dragon and Black Rose Dragon back into your extra deck. And the best part is that if Rudy Rose Dragon was the only monster that you normal summon, you can then take Rose Fairy, place it on top of the deck, normal summon Witch of the Black Rose, trigger its effect, draw out the Rose Fairy, summon Rose Fairy in defense, boom, Black Rose Dragon. Plain and simple. Especially if you're going second, that combo, nutty, absolutely nutty. Next up, we have the 1 copy of Jet Synchro. This card is just a house. I don't even need to explain how good this card is. This card is just a house. If this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, you can add 1 junk monster from your deck to your hand. Honestly, that right there is irrelevant because you are not running any junk monsters in this deck. But its other effect is where it really kicks in. If this card is in your grave, you can send 1 card from your hand to the grave, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use Jet Synchron. One Jet Synchron effect per turn and only once that turn. It's interesting too because with Jet Synchron, you do have to banish it. But what's cool about this deck is that because I'm running the Sci-Fi Lord Omega, you can then just use Jet Synchron's effect over and over again, and it basically helps you go into your synchro plays such as the Flora, the Maiden, the Black Rose Dragons, the Moonlight Dragons, even also a couple of synchro, and even also a synchro that might shock you. But what is that synchro? Don't worry, you will know. Trust me. Once we get to the extra deck, I will explain. But next up, we have the rocket package, as I have mentioned. We got the one Magna Rocket Dragon, the Rocket Tracer, and the Silver Rocket Dragon to basically just help further your plays of to go into Black Rose Dragon, into the Crystal Wing and whatnot, which is just absolutely insane. And then for hand traps, we got the 2 Ash Blossom, because why the fuck not? But moving on into the spells, we got the 3 Basil Rose Shoot. This is basically a Cyber Rev system for the deck where you can summon a Rose Dragon from your hand or graveyard. And what's even more cool about Basil Rose Shoot is that its other effect reads: if this set card is destroyed, you can target one of your Black Rose Dragon or a monster that lists the card in its text that is banished from your grave and special summon it. So it doesn't really matter what happens, whether you get the Cyber Rev system or you get the Monster Reborn / DDR effect. either way, you're going to be having a monster aboard to help go into Rudy Rose Dragon, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Mind-blowing, people, trust me. Next up, we got the Frozen Rose. This is the card that I was talking about, where it's basically a Graceful Charity Rhoda. So the effect reads send a face-up monster you control to the grave. Applies this effect depending on the type it had on the field. Plant. During the end phase of this turn, draw 2, then discard 1. So again, it comes as a 2 for 2, or rather as a 2 for 3. But it's still not too bad. I mean, being able to try, to draw out, the Rocks Rose Dragon, being able to try and draw out Rose Fairy to go into Black Rose Dragon, that's actually not too bad. Only one copy though, because I didn't have any room for a second, but still not too bad. And then for the one-ofs, we got the one Monster Reborn, the one Callbite, and the one Harpy's Feather Duster, because obviously you want to try and extend your plays a little bit with Reborn. You want to make sure that your combos actually go through, so Callbite will just ensure that your plays do go through. And then the Harpy's Feather Duster, it just pops back row. Not much else to say about that. And then we got the 2 copies of Quick Launch to help summon out the Magna Rocket Dragons, and also not only to summon out your Rocket Dragons to go into your Black Rose Dragon or any of your other secret plays, but it also helps thin out the deck by at least 7%, because with the Rocket Dragons and with the 2 quick launches in your graveyard, this basically gives you a much more higher percent chance that you'll be able to have Black Rose Dragon turn into Rudy Rose Dragon on board, and you're able to just pop off from there. Next up, we got the 3 copies of Thorn of Malice. This is the only equipped spell in the deck. This card is just a house. Equip only to a Black Rose Dragon or a plant monster. It gains 600 attack. If the equipped monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing. Yeah, piercing to your opponent. If the equipped monster attacks a monster after damage Cal, the attacked monster loses 600 attack defense, and an opponent's monster that battles with the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by that battle. So basically, the more you attack that monster, the more attack it loses, and the more damage that your opponent is going to take, which is not too bad. And then to round up the spells, we got the 1 Black Guardian. You want to make sure that you have your board set up, so when you do activate Black Guardian, the monsters you already have on board won't succumb to Black Guardian's effect. So that way when your opponent goes, they basically have no choice but to just either scoop or try to out it, which is almost impossible, especially when you can recycle Black Guardian back to your hand with several cards in this deck, which is insane. But moving on into the traps, there's only 5 in the deck. We got the 2 Wall of Thorns, which basically acts as a mirror force for the deck. So the effect reads, when a plant monster you control is targeted for an attack, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Yeah, this is basically a mirror force for the deck, which is pretty cool. We got the 1 Blooming of the Darkest Rose. This is basically a extender for Black Guardian, but it also has an effect in the graveyard, which I will read right now. The effect reads, special summon Rose tokens, which are 2-star dark plants with 800 attack and defense in defense position to either field up to the combined number of cards in the field zones and field spells in the graveyard. In the graveyards. If this card is in your grave, you can target 1 Black Rose Dragon or a plant monster in your monster zone, banish it, and if you do, place this card on the bottom of the deck. During the next standby phase, return that banished monster to the field. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is really cool because it basically just helps further the plays of Black Guardian, where you can send it to the graveyard, destroy all the Rose tokens, and depending on how much the combined attack of those tokens have, you could basically go into either Black Rose Dragon or even also Rudy Rose Dragon if needed, which is insane. And then of course we got the 2 copies of Blossom Bombardment as a way to just even to deal your opponent even more damage, if you will, which is incredible. Moving on into the extra deck, you guys are not gonna believe how crazy this extra deck is. So first up, we got the 1 Cross Rose Dragon. This is basically one of the extenders for Black Rose Dragon. So its effect reads, during the main phase as a quick effect, you can tribute this card and 1 plant monster. Special summon 1 Rose Synchro monster or plant Synchro from your extra deck. This is treated as a Synchro summon. If a monster or monsters you control is destroyed by a card effect while this card is in your grave, except during the damage step, banish this card, special summon 1 Rose Dragon from your graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. This is basically a Halka Vibrax on steroids, because you can summon either Garden Rose Flora, Garden Rose Maiden, Black Rose Dragon, or even Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, or even Rudy Rose Dragon to your field, which is insane. I don't have anything else to say about it, but it also acts as a Monster Reborn for said cards, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. And then of course we got the one Crystalron Halka Vibrax to summon out the Garden Rose Flora, or another tuner Synchro that's in this deck, which I will get to here in a second. And then of course we got the Garden Rose Flora and the Garden Rose Maiden. These cards are just self-explanatory. You don't have to say anything else. These cards are just insane. We got the 3, you heard me right, 3 Black Rose Dragons in the extra deck. Black Rose Dragon is the heart and soul of the deck. If you're not playing this card, you are not playing the deck. That's all I have to say. Then of course we got the 1 Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. This is actually a very interesting card, because what's cool about this is that whenever a level 5 or higher monster or monsters is summoned to your opponent's field, you can target one of those monsters and return it back to the hand. So it's basically an Omni Compulse, where it doesn't matter how many monsters your opponent summons, they're gonna get bounced right back to the hand, right the fuck quick. And because that most of those cards are extra deck cards, they're gonna have a hard time. They're gonna have a hard time summoning them back, and your opponent would have no choice but to scoop, which is pretty crazy. Then of course we got the 1 Sci-Friendly Omega. Self-explanatory, don't have to say anything else. This card is just a house. We got the 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is an Omni Negate for the deck, which is insane. And then of course we got the two Rudy Rose Dragons. This is basically the ultimate board wipe for the deck. I don't have anything else to say about it. And now for the 3 cards that I mentioned. You heard me talk about Crystalron Halka Vibrax. Well, what if I told you that I was running 3 other Crystalron cards in the form of Synchros? I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, what Crystalron Synchros could you be running in this deck, bro? What the fuck? I will tell you. Crystalron Quandax, Crystalron Phoenix, and Crystalron Quarion Gandrax. You guys are wondering, what the fuck do these cards do? Each of these has the same effect, has the same last effect, sort of. Crystalron Quandax is a 4-star water machine tuner synchro with 1800 attack, 2000 defense, and again, it's a tuner, so this works in conjunction with Halka Vibrax being able to just summon it right off the bat, which is incredible. The effect reads, once per chain during your opponent's main or battle phase, you can, as a quick effect, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon a synchro monster using materials, including this card you control as the material. So if you want to go into Black Rose Dragon or Sci-Friendly Omega, or you can also go Quandax and let's say Rox Rose Dragon tuned them with Dark Rose Fury, and you can summon Quarion Gondrax, which is incredible. So the combinations of what you can summon with this card it's insane. It is insane. The second effect reads: if this synchro summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one crystal monster in your grave, except the synchro monster, and special summon it. This basically allows you to summon Haka Vibrax and just summon yet another synchro tuner from your grave, from your extra, which is insane. Now for Phoenix, this is a 9-star water machine synchro tuner with 2800 attack, 2000 defense, and requires a synchro tuner and at least one or more non-tuner synchros. If this card is synchro summon, you can banish all spell and traps your opponent controls and in their graveyard. Yeah, you can actually do that. You can actually do that to your opponent, which is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. And the second effect reads: if this synchro summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one other monster in your grave and special summon it. This is basically a monster reborn for pretty much any monster that you may want to summon, which includes Haka Vibrax, which includes Quandrax, which includes, Caraway Champion, Black Rose Dragon. No matter what, you can summon anything from your graveyard and summon it, which is crazy. But Quarion Gondrax is 10 times more better than all four of these Crystons combined. It's a 9-star water machine synchro, 3000 attack and defense, and requires 2 or more tuners, and one non-tuner. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target monsters your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of synchro materials used for the synchro summon of this card. Banish them. If this synchro summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one banished monster except this card, special summon it to your field. Dare I say more? Dare I say more, right? I don't have anything else to say except this card is a house. These cards are insane. Is it possible for you to go into them? Yes, it is very, very possible. It is 100% possible. Because of the fact that you have the one Garden Rose Maiden, and then of course you have the Quandrax, and you can easily go into Phoenix right off the bat. So if you're able to make Maiden, keep her on board for at least a turn or two, summon Haka Vibrax, next turn you summon Quandrax, and then during their battle phase you can summon Phoenix. Boom. All the spells that they have are banished. On their field and in their graveyard, they are all banished. Absolutely insane. Now, Quarion Gondrax is going to be a little bit tricky, but if you're able to make it, you essentially just have a 3000 body on board mixed in with a Rudy Rose Dragon. That's 6200 points of damage to the face. Plain and simple. Moving on into the side deck. This is just my preference anyway. You guys can do whatever you guys want with your side deck, but mine is mainly for decks, such as Sword Soul, Sky Striker and whatnot, and decks that have effects on that trigger when they're in the graveyard, if you will. So we have the 2 artifact Scythe, we have the 2 artifact Lancia, the 2 Ghost Ogre, the 2 Ghost Spell. We got the 1 Appaloosa, the 2nd Crossroads Dragon, just in case if let's say, I'll say the Crystal Wing doesn't work out and you need another way, and you need an additional extender to summon, to summon Black Rose Dragon, then definitely side out the Crystal Wing and side in the 2nd Crossroads Dragon. to help you go into Rudy Rose Dragon much quicker, which is incredible. We got the second blooming of the Darkest Rose. Obviously one won't be enough. So if the rocket package doesn't work out so well, side them out. Definitely put in the second blooming, and then one each of the Scythe, Lancia, Ogre, and Bells, and you're able to just have yet even more negation, even more disruptions in hand and on board when you're going up against, you know, Sword Souls and whatnot, which is incredible. And then of course we got the 2 Solemn Strikes and the 2 Solemn Warnings. So all in all, this deck is just a house. This card is absolutely insane. Took me about an hour or so to finally figure this out, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and let me know in the comments what you guys think about this deck. Let me know what you guys think about it. I'm very curious, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And make sure you guys follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. All the links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.